All right, everybody, if you could see the shenanigans that are going on in this room, you would all be laughing out loud. So I'm Patty.
Hi, I'm Carrie.
And we are StudioR12 Stencils, and today we are going to show you some whiz-bang awesome tips, tricks, and a new product. I'm super excited about it, and it has been a bestseller already, since we listed it.
And what I think is really cool is that our stencil fans trust us and our opinions and our products enough that we actually almost sold out of these before we even announced them in a newsletter or on a live, that our stencil fans saw them on our website and started gobbling them up. I was like, no, wait!
We haven't talked about this
We
yet.
haven't talked about it, so we had to put in another order, and now we're putting in another order. So we are super excited about that. But before we get too far into it, I want to say thank you guys all for joining us. We have people from all over, literally the world today. We have people from Idaho, Missouri, Tennessee, Pittsburgh, Washington, Florida, New Jersey, Alabama, and our friends, the Happy Rescues, are joining us all the way from South Africa today, which is super duper cool.
I love it. And so you guys are part of this global community of people that like to craft, create, paint, and we are here to help you do that. That is our goal and mission, is to solve problems, to show you how to make it easier, all of that. So we're going to save you time, we're going to save you money, and sometimes we'll even cost you money.
But we're going to have fun while doing it.
Yeah, so, but if you want to check out the new stuff on our website, it is StudioR12.com.
And there's a little tab that says new, and that will have the products that show from our newest release back to our very first ever release.
And it just automatically kind of populates in there when we put them up. But we're excited. Do we have any housekeeping for you?
We do have a little bit. I want to remind you that we are live on Tuesdays at 12 p.m. Eastern on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch. And then on Saturdays on our YouTube channel, we release fun technique and lesson videos and give some tips and tricks. Last weekend, we blew some hippie noodles with our new lesson on painting frames. And we used a pattern stencil that was an all-over pattern stencil, and we used another stencil from our collection to help make a perfect frame. It's a perfect frame.
To not have to tape, ugh.
Yeah.
I don't like taping. I just really do not.
No. Speaking of taping, so I'll take that back. So Paisley was the name of the game. You'll have to watch the video. If you like this, Steve did some magic editing and popped up some other versions of this, of if you would put a frame using a tea towel stripe here and here, so you can see what it would look like with a couple extra steps taken. And we are painting Paisley again this weekend, but I'm not showing you. But it's also a lesson in taping off or not taping off.
It is blow your hippie noodle moment. It's really gorgeous.
It's really pretty. I did not finish the whole project just because it's a really big project. And then now that I'm sitting here and looking at it, and I took a picture and sent it to my family and my husband, and they're like, "Oh man, that would look really good on your porch. You need to finish it." So we'll be doing that soon. But I'm really excited to show you this weekend's video.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it finished because I think it's worthy.
I think so too.
Yeah, it is so worthy.
Yeah.
You guys are going to love it. Okay, let's get started painting.
Yes, let's get started painting. We do have a sale going on today. I will put the link to the collection and the coupon code in the comments, and then you can snatch up our goodies. You want to
probably hurry. So this has been something that has been absolutely, people have been snatching it up like crazy. So let's get started. Let me introduce you to our newest addition to a cookbook stand. And look at this magical bunch of stuff on the back side. It has a groove here, double hinges, and this little guy just pops right up there. And so you can paint it. You could just put a stencil on it. I'm going to show you how to stencil it, and I'm going to show you how to paint it today. And then it folds flat for storage, and you can fit your cookbooks there. You can do your tablet there. So whatever you have that you want to do, your phone would fit there. I cook from my phone all the time. And so it is just really important to have a way to manage getting if my phone is flat and I spill something, then I've got a bigger problem than just a spill. So I love having it up where I can really see it. I'm going to use a folded up towel because it has just that little bit of unevenness on the back, and I don't want it rocking around while I am painting. Okay, so the very first thing we're going to talk about is stencils that we put in the collection. So we know how hard it is to find stencils that will work with the theme or the size of something. So what we've done is we've made a whole collection. Carrie has made a whole collection. I think it was you, huh? Yes. And worked her little tail off. Okay, and we've got a bunch of different kinds of themes going on here. So we've got Be Happy. If I was using this Be Happy, I would chop off the square and so I could get this down, and I could use this in other parts of the stencil, but I would alter my stencil just a little bit. But so we can be happy, we can eat, and then also with this one, it fits on here, but I would chop this down just a little bit so that I can slide it down just slightly. I think this is the one I'm going to use today. And then we have something seasonal, and so we are going to give thanks. And that would be not even seasonal, it would be an everyday thing. Like every day we should be giving thanks. So just always being grateful for all of our blessings. Okay, and then we have farmhouse chickens. And so with this one, I would need to nudge over this, and the eggs actually goes on the chicken itself. So that's like a two-part stencil that's not parted, if you will. So you put that on there, and then you could float him up just a little bit, and then you could slide your... So you can manually adjust. I want you to pick up on that. You can manually adjust your stenciling to like just take the word eat off of this stencil, to take just the word happy off of this one, or just the be. You don't have to use stencils exactly how they come. So make sure that you are looking for opportunities. And then this one is amazing. So it is, I want to show you this without, let me get this so you can see its grandeur. Okay, so this is a Charlie's double barrel whiskey, handcrafted vintage. It has all of this stuff all over it. You wouldn't think that this would be one of these that I would choose to paint with. However, let's see if I can use it like that. Okay. When you just focus on part of the stencil, so just that middle bit, then you've created a whole new look, a whole new line. You can use handcrafted vintage on something. You could use just Charlie's double barrel. You could go from here down. Like there's so many ways you can use stencils. You don't have to use them as they come. All right, the first thing we need to do, this is a bamboo cutting board. This is not something that we make. This is something that we source. And the first thing that you want to do is make sure that you don't have a waxy surface on here. So we need to get our cleaner. And so anytime you are about to paint on something that is bought from a store or even from a garage sale or something like that, you always want to treat it like it's a suspect and it needs to be cleaned off. Okay, so we'll take our Zep. Let's go ahead and put that on there. Let it sit for just a minute. And then we're going to wipe it back. And in theory, you should take away all your greasy, waxy substances. If you feel like you're still not getting a good wax freeness or whatever, then you can sand. So that would look like taking one of the sanding blocks and sanding. And the way that you can test is to take, let's see, I want this guy, take some water. I should have shown you before. Let's do the back side and we'll see how the behavior is. Okay, so it is not beating up, so that's a good sign. That's a test to take. And so then on the front, then now that I've already wiped it off, then I should not see beating up, and I do not see beating up. So that is perfect. So then we wipe off the water. So today the stencil that I'm going to use is this handcrafted and vintage. I want to show you, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to paint on this cutting board stand. And then I'm going to show you, I'm going to paint right over it. I'm going to show you how to paint something else on it. So take 2 pieces of tape. And we want to look for straight, and we want to look for even. Okay. And then what I want to do is I want to make this look like it was etched. So I want to make it look like it was laser cut, because that is a very popular thing. So you could laser, you could, excuse me, looking for, where are their little guys? They're there. We've got our multi-maskers going, so we'll have 2. So I can mask where I don't want these extra border bits to show. Okay, so these are great tools. Anyway, but etching is a super popular way to do things, and then what you can do after you etch it or pretend to etch it with your paint is then you can varnish it and you'll have it ready to go. So let's get going here. So we're going to pick up dry paint, which means no water added, in our dry brush, and we're going to offload. You always offload, and then engage your goggles, and then just mask where you don't want things to be.
Carol asked if you would need to blow dry your surface after spraying water on it. We did not. It would probably depend on how much water you spray on it. You'll want your surface dry.
Yeah.
So Patty just used a towel and wiped it off. But if you feel like your surface isn't dry, then you might want to.
Agreed. Do that. Yeah, there wasn't much water on there, and I used that towel, and it seemed dry enough. Even if it was slightly moist, I don't think that would be a problem. Okay, so now we'll mask over here. Mask over there. I got 2 of these out, and now I'm just using 1. These are a lifesaver, you guys. These little maskers are brilliant. You need 2 because you can connect them. Okay, and notice that every time I pick up paint, I am offloading every single time. So you want to make sure to offload every time. And I love this look of this stencil. We did it as chalkboard, and that was magic as well. It looked so good with the chalky kind of look. I don't think we did that as a video, but maybe that's a good idea. The branding word is not going to fit, so I just want to mask it out. And original doesn't fit either. Be careful on your edges because you can ghost. Ghosting is when you get just, excuse me, too close to your edge. Excuse me. When you get too close to your edge and it goes over, and oh, I did ghost just a little bit. I'll show you how to fix it. So sometimes I'll lean my brush over, but so that's what these maskers are for, is just to get you so that you're clean. Okay, so let's take a peek. And then I want to show you how to do the masking. Okay, so we're going to go, or not the masking, ghosting.
Can you tell me what brown color you used to make this color?
I used 17 and 28. And so the way that you can get rid of the ghosting, I don't have water. I don't know, Steve, could you help me with that? So you can use the old-fashioned stuff. You can use, I've got water here. Just a little bit of water on your eraser here, and it will erase your ghost. And so that is just such a simple, simple fix. Thank you.
I was getting ready to ask her to move it.
Magic hands making things appear and disappear. So what I did with my black and my brown is I just mixed them so that I would have a more charred look, but I didn't want it stark black. And I've got some ghosting on this little guy right over here, so I'll show you again. I fix it. So, you know, here's the key, right, is I'm a seasoned professional. I've been professionally crafting for 35 years, and I still ghost, you know, but I just know what to do about it so it doesn't make me panic. It doesn't make me mad. It doesn't, you know I can recover from most incidences. I haven't had to sand and take it off in a long time, you know, so sometimes it's just watching enough videos to know. And by the way, on our YouTube channel, make sure that you subscribe, ring the bell, because we have, how many are we up to now? Videos.
On our YouTube channel, over 400.
Yeah, so over 400 videos that show you all the how-tos. And it's free content. Don't have a paywall.
Carol asked, how would stain work instead of paint?
So stain does not stencil well because it's watery. It's thinner than paint is. So you want to be, you would have to really, really dry it off. So the way you can get by with it looking stained is to just do just a swirl of it, and then it'll just faintly apply. Okay, so 2 coats of paint. I'm going to take this off, and you can see how cool it looks. Ta-da! Like, how awesome does that look? That looks etched. It looks off center. Okay, so look at somebody didn't use her measuring tools, so a T-square will save you from a myriad of problems to measure. So I just kind of eyeball estimated, and it is definitely off center. It's like there's this big part and this little part. So what would you do if you had to do this? Well, what I would do is I would wet it right away and see what I could get off. If I can't get it all off, then I would eraser it. And then if I couldn't do that, then I might sand it. So that's the ways that you would fix that. Or you can do what I'm about to do, which is base coat right over the top of it.
Trish asked, will your eraser also erase a stained product? I have used a sponge with water to erase the ghosting, but it also takes off the water-based stain. So I would assume if it's water-based, that the water might still bring it off, just like with the paint.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never tried it with stain. Yeah.
Stain usually penetrates into the wood, so I wouldn't
Yeah.
expect it to work. But
Yeah, I have not tried that, but I will watch for future opportunities and try it. Yeah, I think that's a good question. Okay, so this is how you use part of a stencil, which was the lesson. And then, so you just can use the middle or the edge or the side or whatever you want to do. And now I'm going to sand this just a little bit, because even though our stencils are 7.5 mil, which means they're super nice and thin, they still make a buildup in your stencil. So what I really don't like is the manufacturers of stencils that have 10 mil, because it's almost like putting a stumbling block across your painting. It really looks stenciled. They really look kind of, I'm not a fan. But anyway, so the thinner is better, but you still, if you're going to paint over something that's been stenciled or even painted, because paint leaves a residue, you're still going to want to sand. Now, normally I would say sand with your grain, which I can do in this case because I'm high enough above that bottom word. And then this is also a way that you can distress. That is it?
I like the way that looks.
Yeah, it looks super old. And then if I was gonna be creative with this, I might stop right here, and then I might go ahead and stain around the edges of it and give it a kind of a burnished old look, and then maybe even do a little bit of rust here and there and stuff like that. That could be fun. And we've got videos that show you all kinds of that stuff. All right, so I just want to let my hands do the walking. If I feel ridges, then I'm going to give it a little bit more. This is the 220 grit. It doesn't take much. Okay, and then we have something we're gonna do in a couple of weeks with this. And so I'm gonna base my background in a neutral black color. And that way it will work with what I want to do in a couple of weeks. So that's just a little teaser. All right, so now we're going to base coat everything. I'm just going to go ahead and do this part so that we, in the essence of saving time, but you would base the whole thing. So if you messed up and you couldn't recover and you didn't want to sand, then this is what you could do. So you could totally just base coat it out. Okay, and now we'll go ahead and blow dry. Okay, second coat. This looks like it might take 3 coats. All right, what kind of questions you got for me, Carrie?
Let's go to a YouTube question that we got earlier today. It was on our video about secrets to varnishing your outdoor wood signs, and Jeff asked, doesn't the varnish yellow over time?
So the varnish that I use is the DecoArt varnish that is a polyurethane. And it is a non-yellowing, and I have been painting with DecoArt for probably 25 years. And I have published 800 plus projects that I sell on my other website, and I have hundreds and thousands of projects that I've done, and I haven't had a problem.
Okay.
So. Coat number 2. I thought black would have covered quicker. Of merit and note is that this is a manufactured product, and it is hard. Like, the material is a very hard wood. It's bamboo, which is not a hard wood, but it's hard enough. You know what I'm saying? And I think that the harder surfaces are surfaces that take longer to base coat, because the paint tends to slide off a little bit easier, whereas if you have something porous like a pine or something like that, then it can be something that absorbs in, and so it dries faster, it sucks the paint in. I don't know. I think I'm making this all up, but it's my experience that harder surfaces are longer to base coat. What the science is, I don't know.
I do want to give everybody a heads up that we are coming up on our 1-year anniversary for our project of the month. We started those in August of 2023. So as you're preparing your purchases and saving your pennies over the next couple of weeks,
It'll be a special one.
This one is going to be our first anniversary box, and we're really excited about it. And we're really going to celebrate it.
Yeah. And the ones that we have sent out, if you guys want to put comments in about the project of the month, I think that they have all been absolutely worthy, and I think they've all been just exceptional. Our team has done such a great job. All right, I'm going to get this blow dried.
And then I have a question when you're done.
Okay.
All right, Kelly asked, because of the hardware on this surface, would you varnish and wax or spray finish?
So, it's Kelly.
Yes.
Yeah, Kelly. I was just thinking about this while I was base coating and blow drying. Sorry for the blow drying noise, by the way. I think if it were me, I would probably not paint the back of this and just paint the front, because you would, in theory, you would have to take off the hardware and then install it back correctly and all of that. But I think that that's not an ugly back. So if this was facing, I'm on my island and I was seeing the back side of this, I don't think that that's ugly at all. Do you think that's?
No, I think
Yeah.
I don't think it
And
is.
so, and then this doesn't disappoint me. So just having the edges raw like that, I think that that's cool. But yeah, so, but if you wanted to paint the back, then I would say, and you didn't want to take the hardware off, you almost have to take the hardware off. Otherwise you're going to make it clunky and it'll be an odd little duck. So, but if you did that, then you could brush, varnish, or spray. Spray would be easier, I think. It's kind of one of those that you don't have to. And I do notice that I didn't get a good base on that part right there, but I want to keep going with our lesson and then I can fix that later. All right, so I have chosen that I'm going to use this stencil, but what I do want to show you is that this is a little bit high. And so I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to modify. Okay, so don't be afraid of cutting on your stencils. Stencils don't do good when they have to curve up. So I'm just going to go on here and just chunk off some of that. If you think you're going to need to know what your skew is, so maybe you are going to paint these for a show or craft show, that kind of thing, then you need to maybe write it on your stencil with a Sharpie or something. And by the way, Sharpie does come off of stencils. All right, so now what we need to know, this is very important because you saw me do it off center before. Now what we need to know is we need to know we don't have a laser cut straight line. So if I plunk this down and I start tilting and I don't realize it, that could be a problem. So we want to use our T-square. T-squares are one of our absolute best sellers. We sell the snot out of them. Okay, so that is about a 1/2 inch to the edge of the T. Whoops. And it's more than to the other. So scooch them over. And I'm going to use the straight of the cutting board and the straight of the stencil on this side and this side to be like, okay, are you straight? Now remember our lesson from, you watched me do this last week. We put tape on fresh paint and then peeled it off. Okay, so we want to be really careful of that. So one of the things we can do, I've got jeans on, and so I can press my tape onto my jeans and that will make it slightly fuzzy. Jeans are cotton, at least I think they're still cotton. And then I'm not going to push my tape down super hard. I just need it to anchor it and sit. So now I don't have another spot to put my tape. Like, where would I tape? So I'm just going to tape through a hole. Okay, so these are some of these pro tips that are super simple, but is so good to know about. So then I'm going to grab a tool.
I have a couple comments about our project of the month. Kelly says, every project of the month has been fabulous. Diane said, I started purchasing the new project of the month in April and have purchased the previously released ones as they become available. I love them. Keep them coming. So how we do this is a pre-order, and We normally have a window of a couple weeks where you can pre-order the project. It is a surprise project. We don't tell you what's coming in it. We give you some ideas as to maybe it's a 3D surface and there's 7 stencils, or we might give a sneak peek as what the theme might be, but you don't know what you're getting until you get it. And then 6 months later, we release it to the public. However, I will say price-wise, getting it in the pre-order, sometimes it's going to be 50% off.
Yeah.
But
it's a big difference.
But if you did miss out, you can grab it in 6 months, and then in 6 months you'll also have access to the video and be able to see how Patty painted it and get some ideas. So everything's exclusive for 6 months before it's released to the public.
Yeah, and then you want to know about the video part is, so we don't just give you a video, we also give you a little catalog that shows how we think things could be painted. And so that's super valuable too, because sometimes I remember the day, like I failed art in high school. So like I am not like a walking, talking, natural artist kind of thing. I am a learned artist. And so like I would not have known what to do with some of the stuff. And so it's so nice to have examples. I think it's just invaluable. Okay. So I have a jumbo dauber because we have big open areas, and I'm also going to use my little my multimasker, sorry, and I am going to hold my stencil down with that because this has got some big open areas, and I don't want it to be popping up and down as I'm stenciling. And then also using white paint on a white paper towel sometimes can be a little bit hard to see where you've unloaded. So sometimes that's super important as well. Okay, so we're just going to tap, tap, tap. Big open areas, get a big applicator. And I do like, for big open areas, I do like the jumbo dauber because the jumbo dauber allows you to just kind of move methodically over your stencil. Always offload, always.
Patty says, the project of the month are amazing. I have never been disappointed and look forward to their delivery every month. So thank you guys for sharing. That's what we like to hear. And we like to hear from you guys because a lot of the stuff we do is not a quick process. We have design work, and every hand in the building touches these projects of the month. So
every hand.
So for us to put them out and then not hear from the customers if they like them or how they're feeling, like it really helps us to hear from you so that we can know what you're liking, what you're not liking, and how we continue and proceed in the future. So it's super helpful.
Yeah, and we take any kind of positive or negative. I think sometimes the negative, if there's any negative, we try, like, there's so much trying. So there shouldn't be any negative, but we take it very seriously. And I think that sometimes when you get, helpful feedback that is maybe sounds like criticism or something like that, it can be the most positive thing for your job, for your work, your personality,
absolutely.
your cooking style. Use some salt, right? Yes. I watched a chef show one day, and they were totally. The guy that owned the restaurant was not using salt, and so his food just fell flat. And it's just salt would have added everything.
Patty also said, I am such a science nerd that I had to research bamboo. And I learned about the process that they use to make it so dense, the specific gravity of it, and basically it is dense as an oak surface.
Nice. Thank you.
Super cool. Thank you, Patty, for that.
I appreciate that.
We love when people do research for us.
Oak's very hard.
Yeah, oak is super, super, super hard. So, yeah. All right, so now as we get down to my green tape down here, I'm going to make that be the last thing that I finish. And make sure you're offloading. Can't say it enough.
Especially as you continue to do it.
Because you pick up more and more paint.
Yes, the more paint you put on, even if you're offloading, you're still going to get a paint buildup. It's just like when you're stippling with your dome brush.
Yeah, and I'm actually running into this situation where I can't get all the way over into that little corner right there. So I'm going to finish that up with a brush because this has got this like rim around the outside. So I need to do a blow dryer and Okay, so while this is a cookbook stand or a tablet holder, don't forget it could also be your cell phone or your tablet holder for video watching. Have it propped up on, I use my phone. I have a little kickstand, but it honestly doesn't get it up high enough for me. So I would grab this from my kitchen and I would totally take it over to the couch and on the little side table so I could, watch whatever I'm watching. I'm always researching something.
Our friend Diane said that she ordered one today, and she ordered it with a unicorn stencil.
Nice.
And she is going to paint it for her granddaughter's tablet.
Oh, yeah, I think this is just such a clever design. I absolutely love it. I love that it folds flat. And we're getting there. I think it's just going to take 2 coats of white over the black, but it took 3 coats of black over the brown. Like, go figure. You never know what the day is going to bring when you're stenciling.
All right, Vicki asked, if you're painting everything white, why are you using a multimasker?
I'm not painting everything white. I'm using it to hold down the stencil. So the multimasker, so because it has a nice flat band, when the stencil is flopping up and down, it can bleed under. And so by moving this slowly down the project, then it holds down. And it's almost like, I don't guitar, but you do, when you can hold all of the strings down at once with that tool.
Like a capo.
A capo. So, so it's a capo for painters.
It's particularly a problem with the jumbo dauber because sponges can suction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I can do that again.
And then also the area that has the stripes and the eat is very tight. So there's not always a place to cleanly put your finger to hold it down.
Mm-hmm. So then you wear it.
And then we go to lunch looking like a mess.
Yes.
Today is John Ross's birthday, and he is 35 years old.
Excellent, John Ross.
Happy birthday, John Ross.
Okay,
Welcome.
so I'm going to peel this tape off of here and just shove it over there, get out some more white. Remember to knock your bottle down when you are shaking. I wore this white paint very nicely the other day. Carrie had to clean my neck.
Oh, it was on her neck, yes.
Yeah, it was everywhere, everywhere. So now we're going to go into our dry dome brush with our dry white paint, and we are going to get over here and clean up the bottom of the utensils.
And a couple things for when you're getting down in that edge, you can always turn the surface a different direction if you can reach it better, or you could use one of our tiny brushes. So if you aren't one who uses the little brushes very often, you're like, what do I use these for? The little brushes on this would be a really good idea.
Yeah. And because even with this big brush, I'm still kind of getting a little blocked. Okay, looking for anything that needs just that little touch up. Sometimes in the skinny areas, your jumbo dauber won't get in there. And so sometimes you need to go back in and be right there on the tip of the T's. They're not getting done. And I don't like that this is dusty here on the stripe. Also, the second coat of your paint, generally speaking, will stop making it so that you have to hold down your stencil. And I wasn't supporting that stencil at all. I took that tape away and then I started stenciling and I didn't hold anything down. But that's because the paint has grabbed the edges of the stencil and it's kind of got everything sucked down. Okay, ready? Here we go. Perfect. Okay, so now I have my eat on my stencil. And so then if you wanted to do a little bit of, say, we did the one, is it on this channel? With the silver on
No,
the...
so you actually did that with a private group, and it
Yeah.
was a birthday celebration a few years ago, and it was over Zoom, and we weren't able to record it because it wasn't actually us.
So if you wanted to make this metallic, what you could do is you could do one layer of white, then switch to gray, and then do your mediums on your stick and re-stick or your foiling glue. And, oh, you gonna grab it? Okay, he's going to go see if he can find it.
I think they're back there.
But anyway, so then you could put silver leaf on top of this and make it super jazzy. And then if you were going to do that, then I might take my edges and make them black so that they don't look off, if that makes sense. So that is how you paint this little self-standing cookbook stand.
Okay, and while Steve's grabbing that done, let's talk about finishing.
Okay.
If it's going to be in your kitchen, if you're going to...
So if you're going to finish this, then you're going to... You're going to find your DuraClear matte varnish, and this is the polyurethane, and this is the one that doesn't yellow that we were talking about earlier. And I think it's a perfect medium, so I love it. And on the one that Steve's hunting for right now, I sanded through the background and did some distressing techniques. You could totally do any of that.
Yeah.
But you're going to take just, if I was having this in my kitchen where there's grease, bacon spatters, right? We all know that this is a reality. Anywhere where you're going to have like a messy something or another, then I would make sure to do 3 coats of this. And if I needed to do the backside or something like that, I would spray varnish it. Nope.
We'll have to show it later.
Find.
We can get a picture of it and show it. And then you could also use the background words as a background pattern for this and paint over it. Patty says if you foiled it, would the foil become scratched if you dragged cookbooks, etc. over it?
No, I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, especially if you varnish. And then something...
Well, let's talk about that while we're saying that.
Yeah.
So if you're going to foil, how do you varnish so that your foil doesn't get...
Well, then you'd spray.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'd spray over your foil. And so that is how you would manage that. And then one other thing that I know, like I'm not somebody that does a lot of hair and makeup and that kind of thing. However, I have friends that do, and having one of these for your iPad in the bathroom so that either you could listen to stream your music, watch a video while you're soaking in the tub, or watching those how to put on that makeup and do the perfect eyebrows and all of that kind of stuff would be a great place to have one of these as well. So I think everybody needs 5 of them.
Yeah. One for every room.
One for every room. Yeah, but I could see my husband out in his shop. You know, he recently built teeter-totters and airplanes for the grandkids. And, you know, like, okay, I got to go in to see the computer, you know. And so it'd be nice to have that tutorial all like right there where you're at and have it hands up so you can be hands-free. Not in your car.
No, that is one place you should not get one.
All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining us. Tuesdays and Saturdays are when you'll find us, and make sure you subscribe, ring the bell. See you next time.
See ya.